But all right, we'll keep it pushing to this main event. We got more heavyweights. That's actually probably why they made that the co-main. Now that I think about it, just for the sake of heavyweights. But we got the third-ranked Ciryl Gane coming off his win over Rosenstrike. That was kind of considered a snoozer by a lot of fans. Minus 155 favorite. That's who Harrison thought was going to win the fight coming into it. We broke it. We previewed it last week. Alexander Volkov plus 125 underdog, fifth-ranked heavyweight. That's who I had coming into this one. And especially at the underdog number. But I did think he was going to win straight up. But I did like him, especially at the underdog number from a betting perspective. But fighting at heavyweight, I thought this fight was going to go essentially, I got it all wrong, man. I thought it was going to go exactly the opposite of how it went down. I thought it was going to be Volkov establishing the distance with the jab. I thought it was going to be Volkov marching forward, kind of chasing after Gane, which I guess kind of happened, but not really. Gane flipped in a way, to a limited extent, kind of flipped some of the narrative about his fighting style, I thought. There were still some critics after the fight. How did you, broad stroke, we'll get into round by round in a little more detail, but broad stroke, how did you come away? How hot are you on Gane right now?
Pretty hot, man. Because when
Pretty
I watch his fighting style, there's only one guy he reminds me of, but he just lacks his wrestling. But it's John Jones. He looks so much like him. He throws crazy, unorthodox strikes at weird times. He's super back and forth, super light on his feet, really in and out with his striking. Doesn't stay in range, but knows his range exactly when he gets into it. Is good on the leg kicks and diversity of strikes, so you never know what to expect. His feints are good. If he just had better wrestling, which he might, because Volkov's so long, that's really hard to take down guys that are that long. Which you saw Jones struggle with against Gustafsson.
Yeah, Volkov came in at this fight at the heavyweight limit of 265, 20 pounds heavier than
he looked thick.
He looked thick, and that was a calculated risk that I don't necessarily think paid off, especially for this matchup. This matchup seems like a fight you would want to be faster for, not slower for.
I think 250 is about the perfect number to fight heavyweight at, unless you're Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, when Volkov does have a hell of a frame, but he also isn't the most athletic guy to begin with. So, he looked
right. He's not pumped out like Francis Ngannou. If that was all muscle he added, I don't think he added 20 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, he looked a little puffy.
You can't add 20 pounds of muscle in 4 months. It's just not.
Especially under USADA.
You're right. Yeah. Right. No USADA? Sure, maybe. I don't know. Shit, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Ask Overeem, but
right. Shout out Overeem and Bellator.
But all right, man. So round one, I don't know. I think I may have been a little biased. I had it close, but I gave it to Volkov, and he did, looking back on it, have the significant strike numbers advantage. There were a lot of leg kicks. I don't know. Like I said, I don't even feel great about it. I thought it was a super close round. You could easily give it to Gane, but I gave round one to Volkov.
I've watched it twice, and when I watched it live the first time, I gave it to Gane. But when I went back and watched it again today, I actually thought Volkov was doing a lot more.
It was one of his better rounds.
Yeah, I could actually see it. I think I did score it for him, actually, by the end of it all.
So we actually agree on that. Round 1, 10-9 Volkov, but a super close round, because what made it weird is Gane was essentially moving forward the majority of the round.
He was leading all the action. Volkov just had a lot of leg kicks.
Yeah, the leg kicks, which I thought was actually a pretty decent strategy for a guy that likes to move around as much as Gane, but especially in a
5-round fight. But he's just a physical, I feel like he's a pretty physical freak. I really think he is.
I think that's fair to say. And then, but round 2 wasn't all that different than round 1, except for I think Gane was able to let the hands go a little bit more.
He started to connect with some bigger shots too on the outside. Gane was throwing big hooks, man. Like these big circling hooks after he would lead in with this 1-2 leg kick, and then boom, you'd see this huge hook come around. And Volkov's so long that he was able to get out of the way of it. But there were a couple times he ate 1 or 2 of those. I think 1, maybe 2 in the second round, and then 2 or 3 in the third round. But those big shots were enough for me to kind of lean toward Gane for the rounds.
Me too. Me too. Yeah. In this middle part of the fight, Gane was really firing on all cylinders, really leading the dance. Like, I know leading the dance is kind of an overused term, but seriously, that's the best way to describe it. He was moving forward. He was throwing first. Volkov was moving backwards and countering off of Gane's strikes, which, as the slower fighter, is never a good recipe. Like, you can't take a counter-punching approach if you're the much slower fighter.
Yeah, agreed.
That's a recipe for disaster. And that's essentially what happened, especially in rounds 2 and 3. You know, Gane was just moving forward, and really, yeah, Volkov seemed to not necessarily have a plan B. Like, his plan A was those leg kicks. And I really, and this is what I thought as well. And last week when we were previewing this fight, I thought Volkov's jab was going to be a major factor in this fight, proved to be like almost a non-factor in this fight. And I think Volkov thought the exact same thing. I thought when Volkov's strategy, he thought he was going to be able to leg kick, pump the jab, keep him at a distance, stay safe, and essentially outpoint him. I thought that's what he was trying to do. And what I thought he was going to be able to do. Gane's ability to move in and out, as you said, his speed, his movement neutralized all of that. And then I don't think Volkov really had anything to, like, pivot to. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
no plan B.
Well,
I think
no,
Volkov
I
was
think
just shocked.
I think you're totally right. Because, like, yeah, Volkov, like, round 4, he was really solid in round 4. But 2, 3, and 5, I felt like Gane just essentially implemented his exact game plan however he wanted it.
Yeah, and I do respect so in round 2 and 3, yeah, just Gane's athleticism was just on full display. Just it really was like leading the dance. He was the much more faster, athletic guy. He was when he would land, it would be so much more impactful than when Volkov landed. Because, like, Volkov was bigger, right? But, like, the whole converting speed to power type of situation, Gane was so good at. Because those strikes were coming so fast that they were snapping his Volkov's head back. And when Volkov, even though he was bigger, they were coming in so slow that when he did land, like, I don't know if he hurt Gane once that entire fight. I mean, the calf kicks maybe, but, like, as far as strikes to the face, I don't know if Gane got really hurt or felt or reacted to a single strike. And then, yeah, you're right. But respect to Volkov, because, you know, you know, he is a 5-round fighter, and in the 4th round was his best round of the entire fight. He started to land a little harder and a little cleaner in round 4, which I guess maybe do you think it was a strategy to kind of just make it to the championship rounds and then, like, but he didn't. I don't know, because in round 4 he really started to kind of let the hands go at least a little bit more. And you just thought he was down and desperate.
I think Volkov was like, I think his coaches told him, like, hey, we're down, like, you have to have this round to even have a shot to appoint him.
And
so he kind of
like it.
Yeah, and that's what I think is, like, he threw caution to the wind. But I think when that happened for Gane, and Gane ate his best shots and then was countering with some big shots as well, I think Volkov was just kind of getting mentally defeated by that. And I think for Gane, that was like a mental edge.
Yes. And Gane, it's just fair to say Gane was the better man last night. He's just the more athletic man, the more technically sound man, the more aggressive fighter, the more in it to win it mentality. You know
what else he was really, really good at that I haven't seen in a long time? He would parry strikes. Like, when Volkov would throw strikes, he would, like, slap his hand out of the air. Like, multiple times. Yeah, like, multiple times. Or, like, with kicks, like, he'd get out of the way and then, like swipe the kick, pass him with his hand to, like, make Volkov, like, get extra spin on himself. Like,
he has a lot of little, like, techniques and he's a tricky fighter.
That's what I mean with, like, the John Jones thing. Like, he does weird things that not everyone else can do because he's just so athletic.
And what I respect about Gane, the whole world shit on him after the Rosenstruck fight. Oh, it was a snoozer. Oh, it was a sparring session. Oh, he played it safe. Which were all fair criticisms. I pretty much said that same shit. And then, but I thought Gane really went for the finish in round 5. He didn't get it because, I mean, Volkov's a hard guy to finish. But he went for it. He was letting the hands go.
Yeah, no, he was connecting smart, too.
Yeah. He was landing. So I think
you got to think, man, Volkov's got a huge He's got a hell of a chin. You know how we know that? Because he ate Derek Lewis's biggest overhand he could throw, and it didn't knock him out. It didn't even drop him, in fact. It stunned him to where Derek Lewis hit him 3 more times to drop him. How crazy is your chin when Derek Lewis's biggest overhand doesn't drop you?
And how dumb is it to try to knock Volkov out in one shot, from like a strategy?
Yeah, like clearly you can't do that.
Yeah,
if
so
Derek Lewis can't do it, nobody's doing it.
I thought Gane went for it, so I actually gave 2 rounds to Volkov. And did you as well?
So when I watched it live, I scored it 49-46. When I watched it again today, 48-47. But round 1 is like pretty much still a toss-up, so I wouldn't be mad at – I'm not mad at 49-46. I'm kind of mad at 50-45. I'm actually really mad at those.
If there was 150 – the fact that there was 2 50-45s, I don't agree with that at all because if round 4 existed, it was a thing. Volkov
and even if you want to say it's 50-50, I think it's wrong that both judges would flip the coin the same way.
Yeah, I feel it 2 different times. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think 49-46 is probably the right call here. Look at hindsight, 49-46 is probably how I closer to reality. I think round 1 had a little bit of bias for me because I did indeed pick Volkov. So,
but like I said, man, I watched it a second time and I think Volkov did a really good job, at least as far as point fighting goes.
Yeah, he did some things. I think he needed to be a little more aggressive. I just think that he also knew that if he was too aggressive, he was probably going to go to sleep because Gane is a freak athlete. No.